One of the most powerful features of proVM Auditor is the ability to assign comments to findings or filter them out altogether. This directly saves your auditors and admins time by being able to pare down your scan results and triage your workloads, basically allowing you to only work with the new stuff that's identified. So my disclaimer you've probably heard already, but out of the box, proVM does not tamper with result data when it creates reports. It's just data in. What I'm about to show you is one way of tampering with your data. So first, let's delineate between known and filtered findings. Creating a known finding will pre-populate comments in the comments column of your finding details tab here on your VM. And if you need an explanation of the VM, there's a video on it that you can view. So you're allowed to put in mitigations like business risk justifications or mitigated by GPO setting, whatever you like at the device level here. Creating filtered findings will filter out unwanted findings to a filtered findings tab that would get created. Now these findings will also be taken away from your summary totals, so you'll have an adequate count of the vulnerabilities you wish to see. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to filter out all the informationals here, and all the highs. So these numbers will go to 0, and they'll be filtered to the filtered findings tab that will get created. For known findings, I'm just going to post some random comments in the finding details tab to show you how it works. So from anywhere within the wizard, you can hit the settings menu and then known and filtered findings. Now this screen has three main areas. The top table is where you load your checks from individual tools and then search for your findings. The right table is where you do your editing of those findings to make them either known or filtered. And the bottom table displays all of your stored, known, and filtered findings in the database. And as you can see, I've done a little legwork ahead of time. It'll save us with this video. So let's mess with the couple to show you how it works. First, we're going to choose the tool to load all of our checks. And we just got Nessus in here, so I'm just going to choose Nessus. And as you can see, it loads all the checks for Nessus. And then we're going to go back to our VM. And let's go to our finding details tab, and I'm going to sort by finding ID, and then we're going to look here at check number 10394. And as we can see, it affects these 4 devices currently. And I'm going to go ahead and note this check ID and go back into proVM Auditor. And now we're going to search for that. You can search by either the finding ID or any descriptor in the name itself. So I'm just going to throw it in there, and we'll see that it went ahead and searched for it, and we see it's affecting these 4 devices. Now this right table will display any target that has ever been identified by this check ID. So you're not limited to your current session of imported result files or your current scans. It's going to include anytime this finding has ever been identified in your scans. So there are a few options in this table here, and let me try to go through all of them with you. First of all, you can type in a comment, and if there's nothing selected for either known or filtered, it's going to automatically make it a known filtered for you. Now keep in mind, if you're only editing a single field, we'll just put in here, this is a known. If you're only editing a single field, you need to click off the field or hit enter to commit the change, and we'll go ahead and hit enter, and we see it automatically selected known. You also can right click on this table and be presented with a whole list of good options to make your editing easier, like copying and pasting your text, marking them all as known or filtered, applying this comment to all the comments in the list, or matching the way this finding is identified to all in the list, clearing all the knowns and the filters and the comments, or clearing absolutely everything in the list. So I'm just going to match it all to the list. It just makes it a lot easier. Now you can mark a finding as both known and filtered if for some reason you want to sometimes have it as a known finding and sometimes filter it out. If you check both, it's going to default to filtered, but there is a little caveat that I'm going to show you in a second later on in the video. Now let me also show you the filtering capability. I'm going to go back to our VM, and we're going to go here and sort by high, so we can just look at the high findings. And we see is there's actually only one unique finding identified affecting these 4 devices here. So we're going to note this check ID. Actually, you know what? Let's look at the name. We'll go back into proVM Auditor, and we'll go ahead and search by the name, and we see yes is affecting these 4 devices. And we're going to mark this as filtered, and we're going to say I don't want to see it. Now keep in mind, you do not have to post a comment if you're just wanting to filter out the finding altogether, but you can post a comment if you need some justification of why it was filtered. Now I'm going to go ahead and apply this to all on the list to make this a little quicker. And now we're good. So you can also go back and edit an already created known or filtered finding by simply clicking on the row in your table here, and it will refresh your editing table so you can go in and make any changes you want to make. And if you don't want to say proVM is awesome, you want to say something else, whatever. Edit to your heart's content. So if you wanted a report of all of your known and filtered findings in your database, you can export them here on the export list button. Let's just go ahead and do it for kicks and giggles. And now you see a list of all of our stored, known, and filtered findings. All right. So let's create another VM. And before I do that, as with all data options, the settings menu here is where you make your changes, and the create VM screen. Here, let me get out of this guy. It's a little distracting. The create VM screen is where you actually apply those data options or changes here. Now we're going to apply both filtered and known findings. And that caveat that I mentioned earlier, if you had selected a finding as both known and filtered and you want it to show up as a known finding, you would just deselect the apply filtered findings. Obviously it would not apply any filtered findings, but that's how you can perform that there. So we're going to go ahead and do both. We're going to create another VM, and we'll just call it known and filtered VM. There we go. I like that. And we'll just replace that one. And now we will see that there are no highs and there are no informationals, both on our finding totals and our unique totals. And all of the filtered findings have been filtered to this filtered findings tab. And we can go and see all of our comments that we posted. And I'll go ahead and just show you that they are all high in informational findings. And we've also been able to post comments to our filtered findings tab, just a bunch of randomness here that I've just thrown in here for you. And we can also look at, let's go and look at check 10394, and indeed it's saying this is a known. So as you can see, this is a pretty cool feature to be able to triage your workloads for your admins especially. And we're all about automating tasks here at ProSo. So if you have any questions about anything I've shown you, you can hit us up at our Contact Us link on our website here, or my contact info is in the About section of this YouTube video. This is Warren Bailey signing off.